forget about it. The more you try to fight your sexual addiction, that is, the more you try to fight the porn addiction, the urge to masturbate, it is the more you fall into it. And it's really weird that the more you try to stop this thing is the more you actually do it. And I believe that you can relate with this, that the moments where you thought that, okay, now I'm stopping it, you found yourself doing it even worse than you were before. It is because the more you try to stop and fight the addiction, it is the more you fall into it. Now, the question is, why do you fall into it? It is because the more you fight against your addiction, the more addiction dwells in your mind. Do you understand that? Because you cannot fight it without having that thought in your mind that, hey, I'm fighting against my porn addiction. I'm fighting against masturbation. So the more you try to fight against it, the more of that thought of pornography and masturbation is in your mind. And the more that thought of pornography and masturbation is in your mind, the more likely you are to masturbate and to watch pornography. Do you get the idea? So as long as you're fighting the addiction, it means that in your mind, the addiction will dwell. Satan wants you to think constantly of the act of masturbation and the act of pornography. He does not want you to stop thinking about it. That's why before you do it, he brings the thought of pleasure that, hey, this thing is nice. If you do it, you'll receive pleasure. And you begin to fight that thing and say, no, I refuse. And the more you refuse to do it, the more he presents reasons why you should do it. And when those reasons come, they become more compelling to do them, and you become more compelled to watch pornography. And after you've watched pornography or after you've masturbated, then the devil doesn't bring the compelling thought of pleasure. He now brings the thought of condemnation. You begin to regret, you begin to, condemn yourself. You say, why did I do it? I should not have done it. And then you begin to plan that, okay, next time when it comes, I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. All I need to do is to fast, is to pray, and then I'll stop masturbating, I'll stop watching pornography. He wants you to constantly think about that. So when you're done thinking about, oh, I'll stop, and then you come and say, oh, how will you stop? It's been 5 days, you've been saying you'll stop, but then, hey, remember that this thing has pleasure, and then it's a cycle just like that, a cycle of condemnation and presentation of pleasure. So the devil wants you to continuously think about this thing, and he will try to remind you about it through media, through cell phone, through social media, through television, through radio, through objects, through pictures. So when you are busy saying, I'll never do it again, he brings a picture of a woman that you've always liked. He brings an idea of a pornographic scene that you have not experienced before. You're like, oh, maybe hentai is nice, or maybe BBW is nice, maybe ebony is nice. Maybe if I watch an Asian girl, it will feel different. So you always present ideas of pleasure to you because you're always thinking about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I want to read a verse for you to sort of explain how the devil operates.
It was during supper, when the devil had already put the thought of betraying Jesus into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son.
John 13 verse 2 says, this is the scene where Judas was betraying Jesus. Now, John 13 verse 2 says that before Judas betrayed Jesus, the devil had already put the thought in his mind. So now, think about it this way. The devil wants Judas to betray Jesus. What he does, he doesn't possess him just yet. What he does first is to present a thought of betrayal into Judas' mind. So here is Judas. All along, when Jesus was saying, one of you is going to betray me, the devil took that as an opportunity to present that thought into Judas' mind. And Judas was probably saying, is it me that is going to betray Jesus? What if I betray Jesus? But no, I won't betray Jesus. No, but maybe I should betray Jesus. But Jesus, so the thought was always in his mind. Not that he was always proactively planning to deceive Jesus, but the thought of deceiving Jesus was in his mind constantly, whether in a good way or in a negative way. So the devil doesn't just give the thought in a negative way. Sometimes he allows that thought to come to you in a positive way, to say, oh, I will never masturbate again, or I will stay 5 days without it, or I will stay 30 days without it. I'll stay 1 month without it. And sometimes you'll stay 2 weeks without it, and the devil will remind you that, hey, it's been 2 weeks without doing this thing, and then you end up doing that thing. Meanwhile, you have not been doing it those 2 weeks, because in those 2 weeks you were not thinking about it. So now Judas as well goes through the same phase where the thought of betraying Jesus is put in his mind.
And that they may come to their senses and escape from the trap of the devil, having been held captive by him to do his will.
Now, the Bible says that there are people who are held captive by the devil to do his will. And that's what happens when you're addicted to pornography or to masturbation, is that the devil holds you captive in your mind to do his will. That is, he allows the thought of pornography to dwell in your mind so much that when he then presents the thought of pleasure, the thought of doing it, when he then presents that girl that you've always liked in the bikini, you are now stimulated to watch porn and to watch and to masturbate. So the devil has held you captive not because you're demonically possessed by a spirit of lust or by a spirit of masturbation or a spirit of pornography, but the thing that has possessed you, it is the thoughts of masturbation and the thoughts of pornography, not necessarily the thoughts of masturbating or watching pornography, but it's the thought of it in your mind, whether it is the thought of stopping it or the thought of overcoming it or the thought of how to prevent it. That thought in your mind presents the opportunity for the devil to possess you and control you and to cause you to do what you naturally do not want to do, and that is to masturbate and to watch pornography. So what I need you to do right now from this point on is to forget about your addiction. Don't think about it anymore. Stop, I know the reason why you're watching this video is to find ways to break it, but I want you from now on to not proactively be always seeking for ways to break the addiction, but to forget about that, almost say, oh, I'm not addicted. So don't think about it. Don't look for ways, just forget about it. But don't stop the video yet, because the other points are working in conjunction with this actual point, because it's just the beginning phase. The initial phase on how to break your addiction is to first to not think about it a lot, to think less about the addiction and the problem you're going through. Thank you for watching, everybody. My name is Ted, and this was 7 ways and 7 steps to break your porn addiction and masturbation addiction. If you found this video useful, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel a lot. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit that subscribe button, and we will make your Christian life easy and uncomplicated. Thank you, guys. See you in the next video.